So what I like very much is this startup feeling and the risk-taking and also the allowance to fail, but always to stand up the next time and to improve and to be better the next time.
It's a passion for an idea. It's the systematic approach on distributing this knowledge, because fractures had been produced, also by others, but combining it to a offering, which is to the individual surgeon, to the community, this is certainly impressive.
RIMASYS is very agile, it responds very quickly to the market.
They sometimes are a little pain in the ass first because they just speak up, tell you things that you already thought about but wouldn't speak up.
A startup company with fresh ideas, wild ideas, and a new approach to doing what AO has been doing for years.
And the speed is, from the AO perspective, enormous quick. So like 10 times quicker than the AO develops.
Always trying to achieve new goals, get into new directions, and this dynamic approach is also something that is quite remarkable.
Being able to fascinate experts and renowned surgeons that don't need these kind of courses, that are respected in the medical world but also respected by their patients. We deliver much better surgical care, and this is to the benefit of our patient.
Looking back now over the last 7 years, it looks like an intended connection of all these dots. But this story was definitely not planned like this.
It's the next step in learning of how to fix fractures.
This is the most realistic course that I have been to until now.
Because it's very lifelike.
The patient, he profits the most.
Yeah, so that's a big step forward, I think.
It's excellent.
I think this is the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Surgery Tour 2021.
These are not very simple fractures.
We learn a lot ourselves each time.
We should educate younger people because this is the future for us.
To create fractures in human specimens, there was no method. We realized that we have to construct a machine on our own that build up the reality. So we started from scratch by the idea, first drawings, calculations about energy, velocity, acceleration and all the things. And we had a nice contact with the company of Mark's father, who was specialized in building special machines. And after a while of 6 to 8 months, machine was ready to test. In our master thesis, we run the first test with human specimen to create fractures, and it works. And we did a lot of tests, and we hit it just a few times. And from the scientific side, and also due to our master thesis, I was really disappointed. But the surgeons that were beside us to classify all the injuries and all the fractures that we created by the simulator came to say, hey, exactly this fracture, I had to do it yesterday evening in an emergency case. So if I had this example 2 days before, I could train it. Honestly, I was very shocked when somebody told me how they trained before or how they usually train and what or how much they learned only in the real surgery next to their supervisors and not on a specimen. It was like falling down on me. It's like, that's real life, okay, then we really have something that could help.
What was neglected for a long time is the technique of reduction. Reduction is the most important step in every fracture care, and it's the least defined step. And with these very realistic simulation without time pressure, this very important topic can be now focused on and can be taught. So this is certainly a final step before you do operations with real patients.
The idea was fascinating because I thought immediately, and we discussed about these kind of things, about the simulation in aviation. And why do we have to learn on true patients first? And why don't we have the chance to learn on very lifelike fractures in these specimens and first train all these kind of things? And this was a very, very interesting experience, because this was a true world. You had a true specimen with all the nerves and the tendons and the muscles, and you had a fracture behind it. This mimics the real world already very, very much.
We didn't just do like a slightly improvement of a course. We completely changed philosophy of how to run a course in an educational environment. And there's always a certain point of time where you have to bring an idea alive. And that's what we did in 2013 in Cologne through the first pilot course. And with a team of surgeons from Cologne and a Swiss medtech company that supported us here. They invited around 30 international surgeons, and it was really, really excited to see and motivating for us how they liked this new format. And we were pretty motivated after that first pilot course to develop more variety and better fractures on more joints. And in the following years, in 2014 and 15, we were running more and more of these courses, and each of them got better and better and better. And the project was this time called the Cologne Academy for Innovative Trauma Simulation, or short CAFITS, that later became RIMASYS.
I never earned money before, so not in a big way. I never was an employee of any company. I was only earning money by sports and being a trainer. So to go for invest, also financial, in this kind of project was a big step for me, yes. And I realized that in these hard times from 13 to 16, it crystallized out that this could be a project that is running for the rest of my life. In the end, so the end means here 2016, January, there was the point to say completely yes, all in, like you would say for a poker game. All in, we will go it.
So in 2015, Mark was in Zurich and approached me to support on a business plan about his idea. And I was supporting just as a friend because we knew each other for a long time from university. And during these 2 days, I got really deeper in the topic, and I just felt that I'm really thrown into a topic that sucks me in, and I felt a motivation I've never felt before in a long time. When I brought Mark back to the train station after this weekend, and we were working through all the details of a business plan during the last 2 days, Mark just asked me if I want to join this idea of founding the company. And in that moment, I just said yes, because it felt right. And this is how it happened, and it all started for me.
The greatest achievement was the first loan we got from the Sparkasse Köln-Bonn, which is a super traditional bank. So actually, we had a very good prepared business plan. And then, Robert and myself, we walked in, and of course, we wanted to somehow procure specimens, then do fractures into specimens and ship them to a university or to a training center in Australia and the US. So for us, it was super clear, right, that this is a business model that improves patient care. But looking back now, telling them that kind of business plan, I was actually super surprised that there was no police down that arrested us with this kind of business model. But luckily we got the loan, and that's how we could start the company.
It's little different steps where I feel this was a highlight. I mean, it starts very simple. The first highlight is you have your own office, and you can call this your own desk. It kind of makes you happy. Or you get your first business card with your name and your company logo on it. And you write the first invoice to a customer, and money arrives on your bank account. So this makes me kind of happy as the CFO and being responsible for numbers here. And then, getting the first patent. That was also very successful.
January 2018, I got an information. This time, best European lab was just closed from one day to the other. And one of our major partners, who has planned the whole educational year within this lab, from one day to the other, they were just like, what we did, we met with some of the colleagues from Basel, and we had the idea, why not to run a pop-up lab? And write or showcase or introduce that to our medtech partner. And we thought this could be like a nice marketing gag or something. So we programmed overnight a website, we designed a logo, then we sent out this concept to the medtech partner. And 2 days later, they were in Cologne. We showed them some office spaces and told them, look, imagine there would be a lab in it in the next 6 weeks. Would you bring all your educational courses to Cologne? And they said yes, which brought us to a huge challenge.
We were talking and discussing about how we could build up a partnership with the company I was formerly working for. And yeah, we got the thing started, and then suddenly Mark was calling me, said, hey Miri, you know what? Yeah, we have the chance to build up a lab because there's a partner who has not the facilities anymore and they need to have a solution. So we do it on our own. I was like, okay, so what can I do for you? Or in that case, yeah, you can bring the C-arms. We need C-arms in the lab to do X-ray. I was like, yeah, sure. We can for sure arrange something. And I was asking the question I will never forget. So Mark, when do you need it? And he was like, yeah, we are opening in 3 months. I was like, okay, this is going to be challenging because in a big company I was working in 3 months for setting up a contract, for getting everything ordered and scheduled. This is very short notice. And they looked at me like, what? This is 3 months? It's so much time. I was okay, those impressions are two completely different worlds. But it worked. And so we found ways of how this collaboration is really a win-win situation for both sides. And it was a project which was stressful, but was so much fun to get it done and also to see it coming to life.
But actually, within 6 weeks, we built up this pop-up lab with all necessary documentation, with all the imaging. And this was one of our is still one of our most successful products. And the other one, Trauma Academy, there was another big medtech company. They wanted to offer to a big clinical chain in Germany a service package to train all the surgeons with our pre-fracture specimens on their product. But then the surgeons over there said, we cannot do that because there are other medtech players in our clinics and we cannot just focus on one. So the next idea was to take an imaging partner and some other partners in and run the courses with them. But actually it was pretty clear that this was also on a compliance perspective not the way to go. So from the clinical chains and from the compliance, it was clear that all the other medtech players have to be involved as well. Then the idea from the surgeons came, hey, RIMASYS, you have this lab, you have the pre-fractured specimens, why do you not run the course? And we said, because we're not an educational company. But yeah, why not? Let's try it. So 6 months for the first pilot course, that's also company approach. While planning these pilot courses, we had already a full menu of courses in 2019, and actually that's how the Trauma Academy came up.
I think operating on fractured bones, planning, justifying your plan, operating on these fractured bones, and then reviewing the case in detail with the CT scans and the three-dimensional imaging, it's just, I mean, it actually might change my practice when I go to the operating room and be much more strict on myself to make a plan. So I'm going to take that away with me for sure. Yeah, that's great.
It's the next step in learning and education of how to fix fractures.
Many say one case in this course is 10 cases in hospital, because it's teaching from the beginning to the end. And therefore, I think if I look at our patient results and I compare our X-rays after, and the CT scans especially after surgery, today it's much better. It's tremendously better. If I compare our performances 5 years ago and today, they had gotten much, much better.
Ja, herzlich willkommen zu unserer Let's Live-Demonstration hier im Wet Lab at DKU.
A big achievement was the DKU 2019, because that was the first time we brought our technology, our education concepts, everything what we had developed so far on a really public stage. And when I walked in with Andre the first time to the DKU 2019, and I saw this big booth with this glass and windows, the C-arms in, and everything already nearly prepared on this Monday, I told him, hey, this is going to change everything from here.
Education has always been part of the healthcare and the medtech industry, but sometimes you always had the feeling that it's a little bit in the background. And it was the same for the DKUs happening before, which was already great, like having workshops on fracture specimens. But this was a little bit separated from the rest of the event. And then 2019, putting it on stage, just really showing what it means to do great education, that healthcare professionals and key opinion leaders standing on stage, being proud of what they can perform and show to the people. I think that was the one point which was really essential. So putting it in the middle, right there where it belongs.
DKOU in the fall of 2019 was probably the moment where RIMASYS showed their full capabilities to a larger network. Imagine this Congress, I think usually has about 12 or 13,000 participants in 1 week. And RIMASYS was there with, what we now know as the Shard, this open glass window operating theater in the center of the industry exhibition. It was the talk of the town. It was just fantastic. There were live surgical activities inside of this RIMASYS operating theater. And I think that's in the history of the young history of RIMASYS, that was definitely a turning point in a way that the whole, at least European world of orthopedic and trauma surgery saw what they're capable of. And that obviously includes everyone in AO. And I think that for all of us in AO was the moment where we said, well, these guys are good.
As the solution was there, it was basically clear for me that also AO should participate in this. Because, the better is always the enemy of the good.
And the AO is a so established company, and it's the world hero company for any trauma surgeon, or even if you look at orthopedic procedures. So it's a very renowned worldwide organization, and probably if you would ask the world, what changed the game, AO will be mentioned by a lot of trauma and orthopedic surgeons.
AO was always, or at the beginning, it was a startup. The term startup was not invented in 1958. Nobody could imagine what this means. But the spirit was unconventional. It was based on an idea, and it was proven by the experience we got, by getting patient reports and better outcomes and everything. If an organization grows bigger, and this is also with companies, the regulations are getting more and more, and sometimes the speed is a little bit slower. It's more powerful because it's now on a global perspective. But the mindset, in my eyes, should come back to the roots and see, okay, we were growing through the passion for good ideas. And bringing this might increase AO's ability to make faster decisions closer to the customer or the physician and closer to the patient. So I think it's an inspiration to rethink what we are doing and moving forward. I think at the moment we need more speed, and this is a win-win for both of the organizations.
There was a period of observation, looking into what's happening there, then reflection, whether this should be part of the AO, or could be part of the AO, or must be part of the AO. And then there was a period thinking about concepts, how this partnership could develop or could work. And then it ended up in a project with a clear aim about a new partnership between RIMASYS and AO.
We have seen many organizations trying to copy what we're doing. And I would think this was the first time where we really said, wow, something is growing here that can be quite significant. And I think the difference was that RIMASYS wasn't trying to copy AO, carbon copy AO one by one. It was really bringing something new and fresh into the same area that we had been successfully active in. It was clearly something that was good. It was clearly targeting at making surgeons better, educating them in what they needed to know, and ultimately making their patients' lives better, which is our mission. We're a non-for-profit organization. On the other hand, we were also quite critical. What are these kids doing in our space? They found their niche and left a significant footprint very early on in something that we thought was our territory.
From the beginning, from the very early time in the RIMASYS group, there was some AO spirit which was seeded in there and developed over time. So RIMASYS grew like a little AO from the spirit, from the mindset, and parallel to that one, within the AO, there was as well a group of surgeons and other people who adopted that way of thinking which was present in RIMASYS, this quick response, looking into the future with really completely new ideas, a little bit of disruptive development of educational tools. And so by that one, the little AO spirit in RIMASYS growing up and the AO spirit recognizing this huge potential in this RIMASYS group. But that one, this was a growing together of two groups very slowly at the beginning that culminated now at this new partnership.
In 2020 then we started to talk very intensely about the collaboration.
A precondition always was that we need to keep our core values. And these values are driven by democratizing education, these young formats, the multi-vendor approach. It's so important that we work with all our trustful partners together, and of course being flexible and disruptive. And these core values, they have been shaping our company and our team, and we will continue to live by them. And we are really, really happy that the AO recognized those values from the first times, our RIMASYS DNA as our key asset.
It was by the first meeting clear that we have to work together, that we have to collaborate, and that there is a huge chance, a huge opportunity in this collaboration together with the AO.
That was a turning point in a way that we said we'd all be better off if we partnered rather than going side by side in parallel streams, trying to achieve the same goals. Gladly in hindsight, that fell on very fruitful grounds. So the founders of RIMASYS were immediately very open to conversations of how we could shape a future together. And I think it took us no longer than 6 months to come up with a concept paper which laid out the way we could look at both sides as a partnership for the future.
We discussed beginning of 2020 how we can collaborate in a customer-supplier perspective, how we can collaborate in joint projects, joint products, and we explored also everything else, what we can do with our data, how the departments can work and collaborate together. But everything was based on the existing product portfolio we had and the AO had. And then COVID came in. And this was for us the completely turning point in our company. And it was very, very interesting to see then over this whole discussions we had in 2020 together with the AO, how the partnership went so much stronger, because actually we both had the same situation. The AO is living from its community, from traveling surgeons, from their flagship events like the Davos courses. They had to cancel everything as well. And then they could explore the way with us, how we reacted on this crisis, how we went into digital formats, how we challenged the status quo. So that brought us way, way, way more together than we would be now without this. And it was clear that we have to go into this full cooperation where we are now. Yeah, it was clear that we need to find a way where we somehow go completely together.
AO does no less than 900, in a good year, even more than 1,000 educational events in a year globally. And the COVID pandemic hit us strongly, as you can imagine. It hit everyone. AO's clear asset is the large surgeon network that we have. And our main activity, if you really want to reduce it to the bare minimum, is to bring people together, to exchange knowledge, the spirit that we create when people meet. And of course, we couldn't do that.
When the COVID crisis came in, within 3 days, everything was cancelled. Of course, the whole team was super, super, super scared. But we can make the best out of it. And we can use the crisis as a chance. Let's pivot our whole business model. Let's go in something new. I want to have a Christmas party end of the year where we can say the COVID crisis was the best that could happen to RIMASYS. And with this mindset, the whole way how we acted changed until now, and especially into the future.
It was fascinating to see that they were concerned for 3 days, but that they then weaned and said, okay, we have to sit down and look what we're going to change. What are we going to do next? We can't wait until the pandemic is over, and we have to see how can we get new ideas.
I was very much fascinated by the way RIMASYS tackled this huge challenge, because it was a challenge for the company as well. They couldn't use the CAT lab anymore. The courses that they did in Cologne weren't possible anymore. Everybody was in lockdown. And they immediately changed their plans, and they transformed the company into a digital company. And that's obviously what everybody else tried as well. You know, how do I get my business that is based on face-to-face meetings and conversations into the digital space? And RIMASYS have been extremely successful with that.
It came up the idea of a virtual conference, and this was called the Surgical Island. It was not a simple webinar, like many others did, but they tried to use new formats. They tried to use operations, live operations, in a special setting, using their lifelike fractures, inviting experts on the side, and sending this message out throughout the world. They sat down day and night and tried to put up this kind of conference. No other conference took place.
Besondere Situationen erfordern auch besondere Maßnahmen.
Krisen bedeuten aber auch evolutionäre Chancen.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zur Treatment Week.
Wir haben Österreich, Schweiz, Deutschland.
Die Surgical Island ist eine avatar-basierte virtuelle 3D-Welt.
Die Digitalisierung in der Medizin eröffnet uns hier völlig neue Möglichkeiten.
Heute war uns ein spannender Tag. Wir haben 4 verschiedene Live-Operationen.
So, guten Abend. Ich grüße Sie ganz herzlich aus der Live-OP.
Herzlich willkommen.
Herzlich willkommen.
Hallo, herzlich willkommen.
And I saw those guys just saying, hey, this doesn't work anymore, so we do something new. And then I saw them building up a film studio in, what was it, like 2 to 3 months, turning everything to digital. And I noticed how it was in the other companies I've been working in that time. And of course, everybody was trying to do the best. But what those guys came up with ideas, also relying partnerships with as an example, the film crew, just doing everything together and just starting it, doing it, trying it, failing sometimes, but then changing the direction and to do it again. This was deeply impressing me, and that was the point in time when I thought, okay, this is something I want to be part of, and this is something I want to do in my future as well. And yeah, so it came that one day in time, I came here.
After the Surgical Island, the year afterward, it was the World Surgery Tour. Yeah? And again, we could be part of this tour. And again, you see this idea of improvisation, but having always good quality education.
World Surgery Tour.
Let's go!
At the end of the World Surgery Tour, when they saw this big success last year, it was completely transferred, and I think more and more people and organizations would like to be part of this team. And therefore it's very fascinating that this very young company already had so many world-renowned experts and surgeons being part of these kind of teams. Yeah.
That definitely helped everybody in AO also to understand the opportunities that lie in this partnership. So it was no longer just a small group doing their courses in Cologne and providing us with their lifelike fractures. It was all of a sudden, it was a digital company that helped us enter this digital space of surgical education.
In RIMASYS, the world changed completely. We went into a crisis with 14 to 16 team members. We reached now 60. On this point here now, what we have reached together through this whole crisis, this is the starting point, in my opinion, that we can completely think new about the future than we could done it in 2020 when we started to talk with each other.
Yeah, when you found a company, you put your skin in the game. That means you're dedicating your professional life, but also your private life into that. You're putting a high financial risk into that. Basically everything you have or earn or get and find, you put it into the company. And with that, you know, if you fail, yeah, you have a financial, a private, and a professional failure. So this is risky, but yeah, you have to take risks, and with risks there come returns. And yeah, this is what makes it so interesting and challenging to do. Yeah.
With the beginning of the idea, 2012, it's 10 years ago, right? And if you would have asked me 10 years before, can you imagine this place here to talk about the last 10 years? I would say, no, of course not. Nobody from us had the idea that it would become so big in that time period.
You know that founding a startup will be kind of a roller coaster ride, but it's wilder than you imagined. That's probably the big difference.
This is somehow in our three founders' business life potentially the greatest achievement we will ever have. And I can definitely speak on behalf of Robert and Andre as well.
This success would not have been possible without our incredible team. Our team who shared always the same passion with us.
The whole surgical community who became friends with the medtech companies who supported us from the beginning, with all our suppliers and partners on this side. But on the same way, on the more private side, our family, who we couldn't spend so much time with, our friends supporting here so much, but also our partners. Our partners who helped us the whole time and made us, with their support, that we could be here today. With this whole combination, that was the only way to make that kind of success where we are now really possible. And that's what we are so thankful for.
The investment has to be done, to participate in progress. And I see a win-win situation for both partners, because AO can rapidly participate in an innovative educational product, as well in some digital offerings, which were programmed by RIMASYS in a very short time frame, overcoming, the critical time of the pandemic. And on the other hand, RIMASYS can participate in a worldwide network, leading network, to foster and bringing innovation forward to the benefit of the patients through an educational network. So bringing the best of both worlds together, it's at the end added value to the individual surgeon, to the AO members and officers, but more of this, it will have a reach to the patients on a worldwide perspective who get a better care.
As RIMASYS is a young team just living in this digital world and getting this together with the AO, which is sometimes more traditional, progress based, then we can create a future quickly and very adaptive to the market, to the needs of young surgeons to train them.
The strategic partnership with the AO is very important and beneficial, not just for us and the AO, but also for the entire ecosystem. Because our technology and our services can be brought to every surgeon on the world with the help of the network and support of the AO, much faster and better than we would be able to do it with our own efforts.
I would even say the most important part for this collaboration was that it is a benefit for our team. With this cooperation, we will bring a lot of more safety in. Yeah, we will reach, with all the efforts we bring in, way more surgeons, and therefore way more patient improvements.
A lot of new people came here to also be part of it, and of course things have to be professionalized, and that is the point where I also got in the company to try to organize the things accordingly that we can grow healthy, and on the other way keeping our speed. Being innovative, being young, being flexible, but also being a reliable partner, and also a company doing the best for their employees.
It's still the same management, it's the founders. We will stick to our values. We will still serve our customers and partners. But I'm sure the thing that will change is that we can roll out our technology and services much faster and broader globally, and can reach more surgeons, and with that can create more value for our partners.
We wouldn't have gone into this cooperation if we couldn't offer a clear benefit to our industry partners. Robert, Andre and myself, we went as Quereinsteiger or from a lateral side into this whole market. From the first starting point in the company, we found surgeons, medtech partners who believed in us, who believed in a young, crazy startup running around everywhere, which was kind of crazy. Nobody was waiting for us, but they believed in us. And they went the whole journey with us, this whole growing process, this whole, in the most challenging phase we had in our professional life so far in the COVID crisis. They supported us, they believed in us, and they made us to the point where we are now. So we wouldn't have gone into this kind of cooperation if we could not offer them benefits out of the cooperation. And the clear benefits will be with all what we do. We will continue with our multi-vendor approaches. We will continue with our mindsets, because that's also for the AO the clear benefit of the cooperation. And therefore, we can offer all our industry partners, or even our surgeons, our community, a way bigger reach.
One of the areas where AO can benefit from the most in this partnership is RIMASYS' strategy or ability to transform itself into a digital company while maintaining and keeping their strengths in the analog world. But at the same time, we want to offer them a 24/7 virtual space that allows them, or their digital twin, to benefit from all the offerings at any time of the day, in any day of the week. Be it educational, be it research, be it networking, whatsoever. Anything is necessary for a surgeon's professional career, that they can get that in the virtual space. And I think that RIMASYS has proven that they're able to transform strategies, but already show first tangible results and drive that even further. And I think that's the way we want to go forward.
We believe you need a vision to believe in something. And the vision with the AO, but not just with the AO, but also with our partners, is to create a new world. And if I think in a picture, this new world will be a somehow surgical community platform, a platform where all, not just the surgeons, all healthcare professionals get access to data right on the point they need it, which is individualized and which fits perfectly to them. And this is not just digital. Digital or technologies will support, but not more. We also need the real world. We live in the real world, and we enjoy so much spending time with our colleagues who get our friends, and therefore we need a real world. And we somehow have to connect the digital world with the real world more. We need to merge it. And this kind of new world, this should be our vision. How it will look like, nobody knows. But we need to believe in it, and therefore we need to have a vision, and our vision is to have a platform with education, with career development, and where you can build up friendships.
Envisioning that not only the possibility is there from the technical part, but also the network and the reach in cooperation with the AO, you can pretty much reach every single surgeon in the world, cooperating with that company RIMASYS, which was still a startup with 3 people some years ago.
So in only a few years from now, AO and RIMASYS will have established this hybrid world that any surgeon in the world who's active in the orthopedic and trauma world can benefit from.
I think it's perfect timing because I think the market, the world, is ready today for this partnership, RIMASYS and AO.
Looking now into the future, we need to believe that everything what we do makes on the point of now or in the near future sense. But then in 10 years, looking back, potentially looks that all these dots fitted together. But therefore we need to believe in something. And I believe in the team, I believe in this cooperation, and I believe with our philosophy and our mindset, whatever it happens, there lies an opportunity in. Our wish would be really that the whole community, the whole world around us will support us and shape with us the future together.